Welcome to Navajo County Connection. I'm Navajo County District 5 Supervisor Dawna Fae Whitsinger, and it's a pleasure to be here with you today. I'm certain that many of you are paying attention to the political figures and political leaders within our region and across the nation, and may have already marked your calendars for the upcoming governor's race. But recently, within our own county, we had our own historic election. In April, the White Mountain Apache tribe elected their first White Mountain Apache chairwoman. And today we get to introduce you to her and to find out a little bit about that historic event, as well as about herself and some of the things that she hopes to accomplish while she serves as our chairwoman. Welcome.
Thank you.
It's a pleasure to have you here today, and certainly one of the things that we always start with is just learning about the people that we're interviewing. And I'd like the audience to get an idea of who you are and why you've decided to serve as our chairwoman.
Well, my name is Gwenddena-Lee Gatewood. I was born in White River and raised in Shola, Arizona. And I am from the Nisht'in'in clan, born for Sakina clan. And what Nisht'in'in means is Pine Tree clan. And our people identify themselves through their mother. We're a matrilineal society. And my mother's family come from Carrizo and Limestone. My father comes from Sibique, Oak Creek, and San Carlos. And what made me want to run for tribal chairwoman, I love helping people. I love service. I'm passionate about seeing positive change and helping however I can, and to go for progress, for the good things to happen for us.
And I know that with your community or your family, you have a large family, and each of your family members has been a positive contribution to the community. And I think that goes through your parents' teaching and how important that was to be able to contribute to the community.
Yes, my parents were very instrumental raising 11 of us. Difficult circumstances, but they always gave us the principles of doing the right thing. You're going to make mistakes, but you learn from those mistakes. Doing what you can for others, not expecting anything in return, because for that you'll be blessed for it. And I've had the opportunity of working with my own siblings. My oldest sister, Phoebe, she was on the tribal council when I worked at the tribe as an HR director. And then my late brother, Hugh, he was the tribe's controller at the time before he passed away. And I got to work with him. And all of my brothers and sisters and their spouses and my nieces and nephews have been extremely helpful in providing support, not only to me, but to the rest of the family. And to know that foundational support to help others, we come together to do that. And I really appreciate the upbringing that I had, despite the difficult circumstances. You know, my dad having to work 4 jobs to raise us, my mom being an at-home mom, cooking 3 meals a day, and just giving us the, make sure you always pray. Make sure you try to always do good and to help others. Those things still live within us today. And I just wish my parents were here to see all of this. But I know that they're still with us in spirit, but I hope I am doing as much as I could, as much as what my parents and my siblings have done. So.
I know in all the times that I've heard you speak or listened to you that your family is very significant to you, and your parents and
Yes.
the things that they have taught you. And I know that all of our community is grateful for their influence as it impacts our community for the better. So thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
And when we look back at that election and that historic night, what was that like?
Oh gosh, election day itself, it started at 6 a.m. and it was just a lot of anxiety from everybody. It's the end of Chairman Lupe's era of leadership. He's stepping down. That was the day that the people were going to speak on who they wanted to have as their next leader. And that night, when 7 o'clock came and the polls closed, all of my supporters and their families came to my camp in town, and they set up chairs. They were talking amongst each other, hopeful for a change, and just looking forward to what the future holds. And I was okay. I was talking to people and seeing the kids. Everything was just in a good spirit. But as soon as the Apache drums started beating, my heart started beating a little bit faster. But I knew in my heart that whatever was going to happen, it was up to the people, because it's the people's choice. And that reassurance that no matter what, it was the people's choice. And I was just honored to have been a part of it, not knowing what the outcome was going to be. I was grateful that the people believed in the vision that I had to help them, and that they were there to show their support. And that meant a lot. And that night was just extremely filled with excitement as soon as we found out. And the people went into, excitement, laughter, cheers. People were crying. It just was filled with so much emotion. And then to have my boss, former chairman Ronnie Lupi, come to the headquarters and to, congratulate me, and seeing the happiness in his face, and it just was like, wow, we did it, and he was so happy, as well as everyone else. And it was a night of very historic, and the people spoke, and it was a time for a change and progress. So I was very, very happy, and just overwhelmed at the show of support, but also so grateful for all the support, and mainly to our people, our prayerful people, and their prayers. Their prayers really meant a lot, and I could feel it. And the Creator's comfort and reassurance that all would be okay. Mm-hmm. So it was great.
Well, congratulations.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'm sure it was a great evening, and it is reassuring to be able to have the backing of your community, and to be someone who wants to serve the community and serve the community well, and to be able to be supported like that is empowering to you and empowering to the seat that you serve. So when you think about why you took on the role, you talked a little bit about that, but is there another reason why you wanted to take on that role?
Well, working in the chairman's office for 12 years, I've seen a lot and endured a lot, and I was his executive assistant. And a lot of the challenges and the work assignments I took on along with the other staff, and helping promote progress, and helping the people and leadership in order to be a leader. Chairman always emphasized to us, you have to be a good listener. You have to be able to accept change, even though you may not always get what you want. You have to make it work. And thinking about our tribe and the world, and how fast innovation and technology is taking over, and how we needed to step up with that, and the most important investment of investing in our people. I wanted to help promote that change, and to step up and implement some of my vision and ideas to help work as a team to make that happen. And part of the vision of what I have means implementing the goals and working with the team. And I thought about all of this, and at first I was like, are the people ready for a woman leader? And that was on the back of my mind. And we've had 2 other women try to run previously for the office of the tribal chair, one in the 80s and one in the 2000 time period. And that didn't work out. And so thinking about it, I was like, I don't know if the people are ready for change. So I started asking, and the elders would come up and talk about their concerns. And then the children, the school children, would come and talk about their concerns. And then the parents, each generation of people were starting to come and talk to me a little bit more within that year of the office petitions coming out. And I thought about it, and I knew that working in there for 12 years, I knew a lot of what goes on in the office, the contacts, the ability to help promote that change and that catalyst. And people have explained to me that they see me as a catalyst, that you're a go-getter, and you put your mind to something and you'll do it. And they encouraged me, you ought to think about running. And the biggest influence in all of that encouragement came from Tribal Chairman Ronnie Lupi. He talked to me at length about the upcoming potential of running for office and what that would mean. And the more people that came to me to talk to me about it, the more I thought about it, and I want to help our children, and I want to help our people, and I want to help our elders, and to build on the foundation that we already have to move forward, to make that progress work. And that was one of the deciding factors that made me want to help the people, because I'm passionate. I grew up, in Cholo, and having to face challenges by growing up here in Cholo. A lot of it was good, and it made me grow stronger, and it made me learn a lot more. And also the challenges of dealing with other issues, that well-roundedness, and growing up where I grew up, and also growing up in two worlds basically, and then knowing that the tribe has to be a part of that two-world factor to exist with the outside and to move. I felt good about making that decision and making that work and going forward with it to help make that progress.
Well, thank you for that. I think one of the things that people are paying attention, and certainly young people and young women, what do you think your role means to them?
Women, young people, my role, I want them to have confidence. I want them to know that they have the ability to lead just like anyone else, that there's no barriers to what they could do. And I want them to know that what they set their mind to, that they can overcome that as long as they work for it. And you can't just sit back and wish for something to happen. You have to act on it, and then you have to make sure that you have that passion, that drive, that you want to succeed. And sometimes life gives us setbacks, yes, but that just helps you to reset your path and kind of move in a direction. You're a lot more smarter, you're a lot more wiser. And I believe that through that, they can overcome what they feel are their challenges and succeed. And I want them to succeed. I want them to know that they are important just like everyone else, and that they are able to do what they can do, and that there are no limits to what anyone can do as long as they set their mind to it, work hard for it, and just have that goal and just pursue it.
Well, certainly I know that you know as much as I do from living in the community and understanding the challenges that exist there.
Yes.
That role models are certainly needed, and that for young people to have something to aspire to or to look towards is very important. So, and I think that your role does that. It opened doors that weren't open before in ideas and in looking at leadership in a different way. So through that, I'm grateful, and grateful for you and serving our community in that capacity. But we have to take a short break, and we're going to take a short break, and we'll come right back. So
Okay.
Join us when we come right back. Well, welcome back to Navajo County Connection. Once again, we are joined by Chairwoman Gwenddena-Lee Gatewood, and she is telling us a little bit about herself and some of the things that she desires to accomplish while she's serving in office. And again, welcome back.
Thank you.
We talked a little bit about what it was like, the victory and that night and the historic event. And now let's talk about a little bit about the work. What are some of those things that you desire to accomplish?
When I ran the campaign, I ran on my first 100 days and what I would do. And those are some of the goals that I have besides the bigger, broader goals. And just to touch up on some of the initiatives, one of the things that I wanted to do was bring government to the people, to have them get real-time information, and instead of a delayed information that sometimes would take weeks or months to get information of what was discussed by our leaders a month ago. And I didn't like that. And I thought to myself, these people, it's their government. They deserve to know firsthand what's going on. And it's going to improve accountability and transparency from the leadership standpoint to the people that we answer to. And one of those things I wanted to do is live stream our council meetings. And that resolution passed, and our first council meeting was live stream, and got a lot of good feedback from it, and the people appreciated it, and they're like, we get an opportunity to see what is being discussed while it's being discussed, the public portion of it, and they really appreciated it. They thought, you know, it's a way for them to engage in it, which is what I wanted. And also the supervisors and other directors that come and wait to present to the council can just now look at a monitor from their computer screen every now and then and see at what part of the agenda that they're at. And they can keep working, and then when it's closer for them to come and speak to the council, then they can finally leave their workplace and show up. Whereas before, they sat there all day waiting for their name to be called. So it improves productivity, it improves accountability and transparency. It gets the people the information that they want. So I'm very grateful for that. Another item that I want to implement is a youth mentoring program in the chairwoman's office. And I want to focus on young girls but grades 8 to 12. And I want them to learn firsthand what it's like to work in the office. I want them to improve on their speaking skills, their ability to meet with the public, and also to get on the radio. The chairwoman's office gets on the radio every Tuesday for 1 hour. And one of those times I want them to be the one to address the public so that they know what that's like. And then when we get visitors to the office, say whether it's the mayor of one of the cities or a state leader or a national leader, I want them in there with me, engaging in that conversation and hear from them firsthand as a young teenager what they feel is a concern, how they want their issues to be addressed, because they have things that they want also. And that's some of the things that I have started. I want an Apache class to be taught, and we're working on that, and that helps our people really refine the language from the younger generation. We are losing some of the language in our children, and language is very important to our identity. And I'm all for learning. You know, please don't feel offended. You know, I tell the children that there's always time to learn, and we're always learning. And I really want the language to stay there. And as far as our businesses, looking at improving our overall business relationships and improving our economic growth, improving our situation as a whole, as a tribe, you know, just taking things one thing at a time and implementing those so that it can become reality, and working on a master plan, which is being done right now with a group of people, so that we can develop our economy. The people can look forward to the future to see what it's going to look like, and it's all for the best interest of the tribe. And those were some of my initiatives that I had, and some of my other initiatives were our land base, our our natural resources. How can we keep them more secure to benefit the people, to benefit our visitors, looking at ways to improve in those areas, and also working, our natural resources like our wood cutting. People are depending on wood cutting as opposed to other forms of heat in the winter. We live in the mountains. How can we help the tribal members so that we don't overcut, that we maintain the beauty of our land, but yet we're still, keeping the people comforted by what they need, things like that. And most of all, working with the tribal council to obtain what we need so that we can move forward. We have challenges in front of us, but as long as we come together and unify and roll up our sleeves and do what we need to do to make it happen, it can happen. It's just going to take time, but with all the leadership at the table, there's a great caliber there, and I look forward to the outcomes in the future.
Well, I certainly appreciate the perspective that you've tried to take in looking at the bigger 30,000 foot level and thinking about, well, what does this really look like, and what are the significant impacts that we can make? And I know that being a member and a non-speaking member, that Apache language is certainly significant to many of us, as we would desire to be able to speak Apache, and that identity portion is very important.
Yeah.
And just economic development, being able to create a foundation for young leaders. I can see that you are very thoughtful in the platform that you created and the initiatives that you look forward to. Mm-hmm. And thinking about those things, what are some of the obstacles that you foresee?
There's always going to be obstacles in whatever goal that you set. And they are there. They come in all shapes and sizes. But you can't let that hold you back. You have to approach it and maneuver around it. But if you're prepared as much as you can, it'll be easier to handle. And some of those obstacles deal with, for example, the Apache class. In order to provide those things, we need to get people that are willing to teach and go around their schedule, especially if they're already working, and then funding to pay them for their services, and then what other things that we need to help the students that are going to be taking that class, and how we can help provide that. And some other obstacles, for example, for our natural resources is, again, the needs of the people, the demand that's there, and then our ability to furnish that demand. And then we also have to be mindful of the other programs that also have to share in this process of caring for our natural resources. Again, it's going to be funding, and we have to take the approach of how can we best provide these services while mindful of being fiscally compliant. How can we get more avenues of resources to help make these happen? And where that happens for our businesses side is we need to have a business plan. A lot of times when we're going to go approach for money to some institution, we have to show that we have a business plan. How are we going to look 5 years from now? How are we going to look 10 years from now? What are we doing proactively to make sure that we are creditworthy, we are worthy of being invested in, and the returns that the people will get, so that our own people can be beneficiaries of that. And those are some of the obstacles that I see. And then people tend to get a little bit scary about change. When you're going to make a decision on some of these things that I've touched up upon, and others, they're a little bit scared about change. And that's where, before you make these changes, it's always a good idea to let them know why, to lead with the why, to lead with why you are doing this. The why then answers to them you know, what you're doing, and it gives them that comfort. Like, oh, okay. They're more accepting of it rather than just going in and making these changes. You have to tell them, here's why we're doing it, how we're going to do it, what it's going to look like, and how you're going to benefit from it. And that makes them a little bit more comfortable, more accepting, and I believe everyone can then work a little bit better to work towards it. Because I know in the past, change has been a big factor where they're like, no, that can't happen. But you have to show them it's okay, because look at over here, they're doing it. This tribe is implementing this, and they're just okay, they're fine. Kind of like how when I decided to run, can we really have a woman for a leader? And then other people in the tribe started talking about, well, this tribe has a woman leader. They're doing okay, you know. As long as they see the end result somewhere else, their acceptance of it is a little bit better. And I think that's going to help make us grow even more. And the more acceptance there is, and the goal setting and being proactive, including everybody, so that we're all one group making change happen. That culture shift, it's going to take time, but we'll get there as long as everyone sees the end goal of all of that.
I certainly see that you've been thoughtful in thinking of all of the dynamics and the challenges. There are always challenges, and you are certainly right. Being optimistic and pulling on the idea of teamwork and people coming together to unify to make those decisions. Well, certainly I appreciate you taking the time to be here, and look forward to our partnership at the county and with townships. So thank you for joining us today, and we look forward to seeing you next month. We are in fire season, so make sure that you are being fire-wise out there.